Hi there. So you've been seeing me share a lot with the Fine Art Floral suite. I absolutely love this suite from the January to June Stampin' Up! Mini catalog. If you have the catalog, it's on pages 32 and 33. So there are lots of gorgeous samples here, and I've shown you my card kit for this month that features this product suite. What I wanted to show you today was this right here. It's the Gilded Leafing Embellishment, and it's really unique. Let me just kind of pull in what I have, and you can see how much it shimmers. Hopefully the light is catching it to really show you. It's very super thin, soft, staticky, as you can see. Somebody recommended putting a dryer sheet in here. I don't use dryer sheets, so I didn't have one to try it, but I would have to think it would work. So it's a little bit staticky. It's just very different from anything that we've ever carried. And today's the first day I've played with it. So I'm going to share with you what I did and what I learned, and we can go from there. So this is how it comes. The Gilded Leafing comes in a jar like this. I poured it into an older container that we have because I just think it's a little bit easier to work with. It kind of is one of those things where when you open it, it kind of grows and expands. So it's really compacted in here. You get a lot. And then it expands when you pour it out, which is the way you want it to actually use it. So this is not something you're going to have to buy often. Like, this is going to last you a really long time, and it's only $9. So it's a really great price point. Okay, so let me see what I want to do. I think I'm going to pull this out of the way. I just wanted to show you what it all is part of with that Fine Art Floral suite. Before I actually demonstrate, what I wanted to do is kind of show you a comparison. So as I hold these different in the light, I'm hoping that you can see a difference between the left and the right. This one here is with our regular gold embossing powder. So you stamp with the Versamark ink, you pour the gold powder on it, emboss, use your heat tool, melt the powder, and then that's the gold embossing powder. So definitely, a metallic, shiny finish to it. And then this is the Gilded Leafing. And I'm hoping that you can see just that this is a little bit brighter, a little bit more dynamic. It's got like more reflective surfaces on there. This one reflects the light much more than the embossed side. This kind of melts on and is more of a smooth finish. And this has like just more facets, maybe is the way to say it. So let me know if you can see the difference. To me in person, it's super obvious. I hope it is to you through the video too. So let me go ahead and pull in. So this I already stamped. Oh, and I just dropped my little sponge. Look at this. See what I mean? It's like staticky. It's crazy. All right. So the Fine Art Floral product suite, the Art Gallery stamp set, is what you've seen me use a lot of lately. So let me set that aside. I went ahead and I stamped the stem with Old Olive ink and the more solid flower image with Poppy Parade. And this is on a piece of the designer paper, so you can see it's this on the back. And then it just has this like textured look on the front in a lighter blue color. So what I'm going to do is attempt with minimal mess to use my Versamark ink, and this is the more detailed flower image. So the solid flower image I stamped in Poppy Parade. This is the detailed image, and this is Versamark ink. This is the ink that I would use whether I was doing the gold embossing like this or what I'm going to do with the Gilded Leafing. So I'm just going to roughly line it up over the top, stamp down. You're not going to be able to see anything because that Versamark ink is just like a watermark. Oops. And then what I'm going to do is pull in my heat and stick powder. So this is another product that you're going to need to be able to use the Gilded Leafing. Heat and stick powder. Just get off any excess. So you can see where that powder is. It sticks right to, I need to close this just to make sure I don't tip it over. It sticks right to that Versamark ink. And now what I'm going to do is use my heat tool to melt it. So it'll be a little bit louder here. And I'm going to melt. You can see as it melts, it kind of becomes more invisible, right? So I melt it, and then it's sticky. Once it's heated, it becomes sticky. Now I'm just going to set it in here and just kind of gently press it into that gold leafing. It's kind of funny because the end result is gorgeous, but it's like a hot mess until it gets to that point. So I'm just kind of rubbing it, pressing it down, and it's only going to stick where that heat and stick powder is. So like if you want to look at the embossed one again, it's going to be roughly in that same area where the Versamark was. That's where the heat and stick powder went. So when I melted that and it became sticky, that's where this is going to attach. Okay, so I'm just kind of getting the bigger pieces off there. So you can see it just kind of looks like that for a minute. Then what you can do is use a sponge, use like a paintbrush, anything you want to just kind of gently. Like I said, I am just starting to play with this, so I need to like experiment a little bit too. I'm kind of pushing. I wonder if I might have, see, it gets to the point too where you can heat the heat and stick powder a little bit too long, which I think is maybe what I did right in here, because there should be some in here and I feel it, like the texture of it, but I think I maybe just did it a little bit too long there. So it's definitely something you'll want to play with to kind of perfect a little bit, but I can just brush off the extra there. And then that's not the best example because of how much it didn't stick right here. But let that be a lesson to you. Do not overheat the heat and stick powder, because that's what happens, is that it's no longer sticky where you want it to be sticky. So just melt it and then go right into it. That kind of bugs me, so I want to do it again. So hang with me. So let me pull in, I think that's just one piece, and I'm going to re-stamp the solid flower with the Poppy Parade ink. I won't bother with the stem because I just want to experiment with that heat and stick powder, because it's not something I've used in a very, very long time, and never with this Gilded Leafing. So where's that other image? Here we go. So I use the Versamark ink again. This is trial too, to see if I can improve upon that center there. Make sure I've got enough ink there. Stamp roughly over the top. And now I've probably got enough heat and stick powder right in here. I'm just going to kind of scoop it up and pour it right over. Okay, so you can tell I've got plenty of heat and stick powder there, because you can see that like grainy look over it. You can see where that powder is. So let me scoot that, melt it again, but not overheat. So let's try it. So as soon as it changes color, I'm going to stop heating. Okay, there it goes. All right. Turn off. There we go. And now I'll put it down into my crazy mess here. Just kind of press it into it. Definitely a little bit of a mess, but it's not, it's not like a glittery mess where it's like all over the place. This is just, I wish you could feel, it is so, so soft. It looks like, oh gosh, like how aluminum foil, and when it's wrinkled up, if you ball it up or anything, it's got all the rough edges and texture. This has so many facets and so much texture, but it is just so delicate and soft. All right, so I'm just gonna press into this. That maybe was something I didn't do enough. So I melted the heat and stick just enough to melt it, didn't overheat it like I potentially did on that sample. Pressing this in, and now let's take the sponge and brush off the excess and see what happens. You can give it a little bit, I'm giving it a decent amount of pressure here to get off the extra because I really pressed it into it. So there's a decent amount that's on here, but it's not really stuck on the heat and stick powder. So it would come off eventually if I'm not getting it off right now. So I think I did better on this one. Live and learn, right? So learn from my mistake. I'm not sure if that's really attached. It's really fun though to play with, just to kind of see what you're gonna get, and it adds so much. So I think you could see the difference here. I think that was my problem, that I overheated the heat and stick and then maybe didn't press it in quite enough. So that's what I've got for you. A big old fun mess, but it helps to have it kind of contained in that container there. Like the container is a mess, but if you look here on my surface where I'm working, it's not really bad at all. So just again, to pull these in, to see the difference between the gilded leafing on the left and gold embossing powder on the right. This gives you more of a solid, smooth, definitely a shine, but more of a smooth finish, where this is much more faceted, reflects the light much more, and just kind of has a little bit more of a sparkle to it. So that is a new embellishment. That's a really fun way to add some sparkle to these cards. This again is my free card kit in the mail with your qualifying order this month. And you can think about different ways you could add that gilded leafing to these cards. If you wanted to add the gilded leafing and heat and stick to your order, make sure you have Versamark and a heat tool. But then you would be able to add a little bit, on here, or if you wanted to do just like we did on that flower, add some in here, or even on this flower. There's several other things you could do with the gilded leafing, so I will definitely come back on this week to show you a couple other little techniques that you can do with it. It's a lot of fun. And like I said, today's my first day playing with it. So I'm sure there's little tips and tricks I'll learn as I go. But I just wanted to share that with you, remind you about my free card kit this month, and just encourage you to play with it and kind of see what you can all do and how you can add. And of course, you can use it with any cards, any projects. If you can, if thinking way ahead to Christmas, it would be really, really gorgeous to send some Christmas cards. And like I said, with what you get in this container and what you actually use, this will definitely last you through your holiday crafting as well. All right, if you joined partway through, be sure to go back to the beginning so you don't miss any of the details. And thanks so much for watching.